Well, that brings up the question of who is the watching eye on the content of the videos. I mean, even the best teachers can be wrong about something. Like, who knows that what we're being taught is somehow verified or is somehow screened for content or screened for accuracy? Is that just a given that because you're with Stanford, you're probably doing okay? But I know that more and more universities of different levels of credibility are getting into the game.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting question, and I think that most of the platforms are more or less content agnostic. They turn over the. I know in Coursera they kind of turn over the course once they've signed an agreement with the university. That university kind of gets to say what goes on. So the university is accountable on some level, and I think, I mean, like all kind of internet-based media, I think the ultimate accountability ends up almost being kind of crowdsourced, which can be very dangerous because there's the possibility of general misconceptions being reified, but you also get the you do get people pointing things out that are wrong. I mean, Wikipedia is a classic example of this, where yeah, there are problems sometimes, but actually Wikipedia does a pretty good job of catching when things go wrong, and I sense the same thing will be true in MOOCs. In fact, I would suppose that in most MOOCs, when there are mistakes in video lectures, for example, they get addressed more quickly than they would in a traditional lecture classroom.
More eyeballs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not only that, but they're 24/7 eyeballs. Because at anyone, I got, at first disconcerting, I would go on late at night and try to make some changes. But somewhere across the other side of the world, someone was online and the forums would come in and make changes. But it did mean that, and I, some of the things I recorded, the stuff I'd recorded in advance, most of it we'd sort of screened it, we'd looked at it beforehand, Paul had looked through it, which we're sort of moderately confident we got rid of most of the bugs. But I was recording some videos in response to student issues on the forums, sort of the day before and then posting them on the Wednesdays. I did an all-nighter on a Tuesday night, got the videos, went to bed, left them rendering for 3 hours, then posted them up. But then as soon as they went up, sometimes someone would catch a mistake. And sometimes it was an embarrassing mistake, which actually I thought was good, because the more times they can see, it doesn't matter if you've got a PhD in mathematics, you can make mistakes just like everybody. It's a human activity. So I was fine it'd been left there, but it did mean I could very quickly start to work on correcting it, because I don't want to leave it there indefinitely. It's fine having the mistake there when it's still live in the conversation. In fact, it's good. But someone might watch that video 3 weeks later and I'm not watching that part of the course. So I did correct them, but I was able to correct them within 24 hours. So, and there were enough smart people in the audience that I'm sure that there were no mistakes left. Actually, there was a tiny one that Paul found just a couple of days ago, a little typo somewhere, very obscure. And it'll be interesting to see, because we left it in, we decided no one noticed it the first time round. So the challenge to this year's students will be to find a small little error in one of the...
Are you literally doing that? Are you telling them there's an error in here somewhere?
I am now, because we're going to put this online.